The 3 most important components to pricing your home, coming up next. So, 3 components on pricing your home. First, by far, in real estate is always location, 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 right? So you have to keep in mind when you're selling your home exactly where is it located. Are you on a busy street? Are you on a cul-de-sac? Are you up against the highway? Do the planes go over your house? All of these things will factor into how much someone is willing to pay for your house. So location is an absolute factor in your house. The second component of pricing your house is the style of your house. It's not just about like bedrooms and bathrooms. Like you could have 4 bedrooms and 2.5 baths, but you're in a Cape, versus 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and you're in a colonial. There's definitely a pricing structure. So ranches and Capes are sort of lower priced. Then you have maybe split levels. Then you have colonials. Contemporaries, depending on their size, sort of run all of there. But you can't really compare a 4-bedroom colonial with a 4-bedroom Cape. Colonials are very traditional here in Lexington and the surrounding towns. And they're the most popular house, right? You have your bedrooms upstairs, your living space downstairs, and that's, people's preference. And then your third criteria, the third factor are comparable properties. For instance, you have a Cape and you want to sell it for $1.5 million, but the last 4 Capes that sold in the past month have sold for $1 million. Well, chances are your Cape is worth $1 million as well. So it's very important to look at comparable properties. Basically, what that is telling you is how much was someone else willing to spend for a similar house as yours. And that's what buyers are looking at too. So it's not like you can fool them and say somehow my Cape is worth 1.5 even though the last 4 were worth $1 million, because they see all the stats. They probably bid on those houses. They walk into your house, and they say, okay, your house is the exact same as this last house. Maybe the colors are different. Maybe the bathroom is updated. Maybe it's a different street, but in general, it's a very similar house. It needs to be a very similar price point. So that's also your sort of third strategy, and where agents sort of guide you as to where your pricing would be. I mean, most people love to go to Zillow and say, okay, Zillow says my house is worth, $6 million. And unfortunately, Zillow has never been in your house. My husband checks Zillow all the time, and I have to tell him, no, like if our house was worth that much, we would put the sign in the ground right now. So Zillow can be a starting point, but it's usually not reliable. So for sure, you want an agent to come in and sort of start with the ground up, being like, okay, here are your comparables. This is your location versus their location, and this is your style house versus their house, and then obviously upgrades and what have you. So it's very important to price your house properly, because if you don't, you tend not to sell your house for as much money as you possibly could, which is usually the goal of sellers. So very important, the 3 components of pricing strategy. And just to sum up the 3 components, it's location, style of home, and comparable properties.